Hi, I'm Benno Schmidt. Thanks so much for joining us for tonight's DLife. Because guess what? We at DLife have been listening to you. You've told us through the DLife mail, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter what you want to know more about. So, for the next several weeks, we'll have new segments on pre-diabetes, what it is and what it means to you, and technology, how it can help and simplify your life. Plus, we'll visit my favorite, Jim Turner, for his unique, inspired, and very humorous takes on what it's like to live with diabetes. So, let's get started.
Hi, my name is Joy Pape, Certified Diabetes Educator with DLifeTV.com, and I'm here to answer your mail. A question we get frequently is, how does exercise affect my blood sugar? Well, for the most part, exercise increases insulin sensitivity, which means the insulin you make or the insulin you take works better. So for the most part, it lowers your blood sugar, but not all the time. There are some people that find that exercise raises their blood sugar. Either way, it's important to have a plan. If you have found that exercise lowers your blood sugar, know how to recognize, how to treat, and how to prevent low blood sugars when you're exercising. And it's important for you to know that your blood sugar can get low up to 48 hours after you exercise. For those people whose blood sugar rises when they exercise, I usually see this in people who have type 1 diabetes, people who exercise in the morning. They wake up and they break that fast, they're not eating, so they don't think they need to take any insulin because they're going to exercise. Well, they go ahead and exercise and their blood sugar is higher. What these people need to do is to take a little bit of insulin before exercise, because the problem is there's not enough insulin circulating in their body. They may need to eat a little something beforehand and cover it with the insulin and see how that works. If you're wearing a pump, some people turn their pump off for exercise, but they might not be having enough insulin in their system. The thing to do is not turn off the pump, but turn the pump low so that you are still getting some insulin, and see how that works. If you want to see how exercise affects your blood sugar, check your blood sugar often or wear a continuous glucose monitor. You'll learn that way. This is Joy Pape, Certified Diabetes Educator, DLifeTV.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Michel Nishan, and welcome to the DLife Kitchen. Now, today's recipe is going to give you a great healthy cooking tip you can use over and over again. We're going to make that high-carb favorite, the good old breakfast pancake, but we're going to make it low-carb and good for you. Let me show you how. Now, the pancake contains less than 5 grams of carbs, and the reason is our secret ingredient, grated zucchini. So here's what you do. You just take a good old-fashioned box grater, and zucchini itself is kind of like, you know, the firmness of cheddar cheese. So it really lends itself well to grating. You just kind of grate the whole thing, and then you add this to this already existing zucchini over here. And now I have a bowl with some eggs. I'm going to add the zucchini to that. And to that, I'm going to add some green onions or scallions that have just been kind of medium chopped. Now I'm going to add a little bit of fresh basil chopped, but I'm going to kind of save a little bit for garnish at the end. And you can use any herb. You can use marjoram, you can use oregano, you name it. You can use it, whatever your favorite herb is. And now we're adding the protein punch of pine nuts. We want to kind of pre-mix it before we add the whole grain flour, just so that we know we have all of the vegetables nice and blended, and that looks really good. So Again, whole grain flour. A lot of pancake recipes call for all-purpose flour. That's highly processed, really can help promote spikes in your blood glucose. When you use a whole grain flour like this, it reduces that factor. So it's really a good idea. And now I'm just going to mix it until the flour disappears. Now we're going to move over here, and we have a preheated skillet, nonstick skillet. Going to add a little bit of butter and let it melt. And here we go. We're just going to add that just like that. So now we have some water that's just about simmering. I give the water a stir to create like a little bit of a whirlpool, remove the spoon, and then put in the egg. And that whirlpool action of the water really allows the egg to hold together. Really great. Now I suspect that the pancake is probably just about ready to turn. And look at that. Beautiful, crisp, golden brown. There you have it. A perfectly poached egg, a perfectly cooked pancake. Time to plate. Now here, take a look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Now when you're working on dishes like this, a really great way to replace Eggs Benedict, instead of having a carbohydrate like a bagel or an English muffin underneath, you can have this beautiful squash pancake, and look at how great that looks. Just amazing. And now I have a sauce that often is vilified because it's made from eggs and butter, hollandaise. But what's great is because we have all of the fiber with the zucchini and we got the pine nuts in there, we don't need a lot of it, and we're serving it with a vegetable. So you take a little bit of hollandaise, and we're just going to kind of drizzle it around the pancake, just like this, so that it flavors the pancake. And then we're going to sprinkle the whole thing with a little bit of fresh basil. And I'm just going to finish by sprinkling over with just a little bit of paprika. And there you have it, a healthy low-carb twist on Eggs Benedict. Now you can find this recipe and thousands more at DLife.com/recipebox. Try this one out this week, and then be sure to go back to the website and give it a review. I'm Chef Michel Nishan. See you next time in the DLife Kitchen.
My mother passed away about 9 years ago from diabetes, and she was the person that influenced me the most in my Christian walk. In fact, my most vivid memory of her is on her knees praying. I was already a diabetes educator prior to her passing away, but it just gave me some more passion. We are headed to Parkway Village, which is a low-income apartment that our church partner with. We teach them healthy eating and cooking, and our goal here is to minister again to the whole person. All kinds of complications can occur from diabetes. Now, if I were to ask you, what is diabetes? Somebody tell me what it is, because you didn't always have it. So what happened in your body, the reasons the sugars are high? And for a long time, I was the only black person in South Carolina who was a certified diabetes educator. We have a few more now, not many, probably less than 5. But it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Three years ago, I became a pastor of this church, and it's been a great experience for me. And I think it's because I love God and I love people. To see their lives improve is just so rewarding for me.
I notice now when my mind gets high, or it's been 570 one night, and everything that my eyes up in my eyeballs starts hurting, my head does, and everything.
Your number one goal should be, I've got to return these blood sugars to normal. And we have people walking around every day. Christy and I we've been places where we do screenings and people's blood sugar is 500. And we're like in a panic. We're like, how do you feel? Is everything okay? They're like, oh, I feel okay. And that's because their sugars have been high so long that their body has adjusted to a higher sugar. Sometimes I start the sessions by saying, how many of you believe that God wants you to be healthy? So everybody's hands will go up, you know. God will give us oranges, but we have to make orange juice. And so we can't just say, well, I'll just pray and, you know, I'll be well, or everything will be well with my physical body. There's some things we can do. How you doing, okay? Bless you. You doing all right? Sometimes you have to give your members permission to take that blood pressure medication or to take that insulin, because they think in their minds that what this doctor is telling me is in contradiction with the fact that Jesus is a healer. I'll tell you a quick story. We have a gentleman in our church, and he nicked his toe. So he came to Bible study one night. His toe was swollen, it was smelling, he had this big shoe on, and he says, Pastor, I want you to pray for my toe. I was like, we will pray, but as soon as we get through praying, I want you to head to the emergency room. Let's not think that God can only work in one way. Let's exercise. Let's make sure that we're increasing our intakes of fruits and vegetables each day. Let's make sure we're seeing our doctors and taking good care of ourselves. I don't know about you, but I want to live as long as I can. Amen? One of the things that we've been able to do successfully is to change the recipes where we don't have as much of the high-fat seasonings in there. It's important to help people understand that medicine and taking care of your body is not in contradiction with your faith. In fact, it complements your faith. It means that you are a good Christian if you take care of your body as well as your spirit and soul.
When it comes to my diabetes, I'm a control freak. I try to test once an hour. My A1C hovers around 6, and I'm proud to say that after 29 years, I'm in good shape. Here in New York City, I have everything I could possibly need to manage my diabetes. But once I'm in Guatemala, access to things we take for granted disappears.
Traveling with diabetes can be really tough, but I've learned a few things over the years to keep my vacation worry-free. I'm going on a trip to Guatemala, and I brought actually a list of things that
My doctor emphasized taking extra care of my feet because of all the hiking I had planned. He reminded me to never walk barefoot and to make sure I always wore proper shoes and clean socks.
Socks.
Socks. Thin socks. A lining sock. What is your shoe size?
9.5.
Okay, then you'd be a medium.
Okay.
And you'd wear a thin lining sock.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd wear a thicker sock over it. And that was how you reduce the friction between the two, between your foot and your shoe.
So it's friction that causes the blisters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's most of it. And the moment you find that you're getting a slight hot spot, take care of it immediately. Put a little bit of a dressing on. But the moment you get a hot spot, that's when you take care of it. That will prevent a blister.
And we need a first aid kit?
I would recommend something that's designed for overseas travel.
Okay.
You're going to only go for a short time, so you don't need something enormous. You don't need...
There's more to managing diabetes on the road than just controlling blood sugar. A first aid kit is essential and should always contain bandages, gauze, topical antibiotic, pain reliever, medicine to treat diarrhea and motion sickness, sunscreen, and insect repellent.
Keeping my insulin cold is pretty simple here at home, but when traveling, it takes some advanced thinking and a couple of new accessories.
This is another insulated pack. That
It'll
I can
be a
put
lot
my-
easier for you to put
Yeah.
the little
Put my little ice in there. Put my insulin
Put-
in there.
Put that there and put your insulin in there and put another ice pack. Life is good.
I have an extra incentive to have a good flashlight because I need to check my blood sugar with this little thing at all hours of the day.
And it even blinks.
Okay. Put it on my head, hit the button, and then I don't have anything to worry about. And I can easily take my strips out and manipulate this thing as I need to, prick my finger, get a drop of blood, and I'm not holding a flashlight with one hand. What a perfect solution. Thanks very
Thank you.
much.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye. It was a
Bye-bye.
pleasure. Thank you. The pharmacy. I'm gonna bring enough supplies for 2 weeks longer than I'm actually gonna be away. I'm just a lot more comfortable being over-prepared than spending the night in the Guatemalan hospital, or even having to look for anything while I'm down there at all. Who knows what they have? So I'm gonna bring 400 strips, 4 vials of insulin, syringes, lancets, glucagon. This list just goes on and on and on and on. And all this stuff is really expensive, but it's part of the cost of me going. So I'm gonna try not to let it get me down. Wish me luck. So that was pretty frustrating. It was about $350 for some extra supplies for the trip. So extra strips and insulin, $321 and then another bunch of stuff, so it's just like not covered by insurance, and it's too much.
I think packing with diabetes is like being dealt an 11 in blackjack. Always double down. For Guatemala, I'm bringing twice the insulin, twice the strips, and even an emergency pump. Food is very unreliable when you're traveling. Airports, airplanes, and exotic locations don't offer the low-carb foods I depend on. So I pack snacks like nuts, vegetable sticks, and beef jerky, and I always keep glucose tabs close at hand for any surprising lows.
Hi, I'm going to JFK, Taka Airlines, please.
When you travel, documentation is critical. I usually don't get stopped by airport security, but I've definitely been asked about my insulin pump and my supplies and everything else. So along with my passport, I carry this travel letter. It's from my doctor and it says everything that I'm going to need. So if I do have a problem with security, I just show them this letter and move right through the line. But if you have diabetes, you have to constantly work on making your world bigger. And what that means to me is that if you allow any part of this disease to keep you from trying something new, even if you don't realize it, then your world just gets smaller and smaller. That's why I need to do this trip. I need to push boundaries. I need to make things happen, or else my world will just get smaller and smaller.
Thanks so much for joining us for tonight's DLife TV. And we're serious when we say we want to hear from you. What are you interested in? What do you want to know more about? Send us your ideas right below, or contact us with Facebook or Twitter. And for all of you film buffs, there's a chance your video could actually appear right here on DLife. That's it for tonight's show. I'm Benno Schmidt. We'll see you next Sunday.